Let's see if I did this right. It's been a while. All right. I don't see anybody in here yet. We'll give it a minute. They're going to come. They've got questions. Hello, hello. Hey, here we go. Oh, man. Sean, hey. Man, it's been a minute, right? It's been a while. Can you guys hear me? I've got just a few here. I figured I would jump on here and chat with you guys before my buddy gets here. Brendan's going to be here, and we're going to do some recording tonight in the shed. Let me just text him real fast. Can you guys hear me? All right, cool. Well, good evening. Man, I feel like it's been ages since I've gone live. And I realized I haven't been live since I've been in the studio. So I figured, yeah, in the shed. Heck yeah. In all its glory. A little bit messy. Which side is that on? Where is that? Where is it? Somebody needs to clean this place up. What the heck? Hey, thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. Google AX. How have you guys been? How's everybody doing? The NRD wrecking crew. The true voice of reason. Oh man. I love after all these years, I just see, names that I'm familiar with that I've seen a million times. It's great that you guys are so supportive and I really do appreciate it. Thank you. Means the world to me. Hopefully everybody's having a good evening. Missing NRD live streams. I know. I know. Um, I've been wanting to get like a really easy to do setup so I can just go live in a quick hurry. And once that happens, then this will be a part of the show like often. So yeah, yeah. What are you, lazy? Yeah, and tired. You bet. Oh my goodness sakes. Let's just see here. I'm getting ready to head out to job 2, but I'm taking all of you. Oh, that's great. Fantastic. Do you think the Yamaha RN2000A would be a sonic improvement over entry-level Emotiva separates? Hard to say. I don't know the answer to that. I haven't spent much, if any, time with the Emotiva stuff. So I don't know what its sound signature is. With the Yamaha RN line, like I mentioned in both of my reviews of the RN line, it's a little bit of a different sound than what I'm used to with some of the other Yamaha stuff that I've reviewed. It's great if you don't mind kind of this sort of like wall of sound type of experience, and it's just not quite doesn't have quite the same presence as I noticed in the AS line, but nevertheless, the functionality of it is very impressive, and it feels very much like a future-proof experience. So, yeah, super cool. Any panel speaker reviews you're interested in doing? Yeah, I am. I kind of actually feel like now that the shed is complete, pretty much complete, where acoustics are under control, that this will free up a lot more time that I've had over the last year to really start focusing back on reviews and turning out reviews similar to what I did with the tier review. That was me spending some time on a review, and I want to do that. I want to put my heart into this and have some fun with it. So I'm excited to um, start taking in more products and pumping out the reviews. So panel speakers all day long for sure. Yeah. Yep. Ben Gleason, thanks for the live stream run. You're welcome. What are your component suggestions for low volume late night listening? Oh, that's a great question. The X4 is a fantastic speaker for late night listening, spatial audio X4. But if you're talking about components in general, you know, I I don't know what your budget is. I think that we should probably start with that. Um, but with the X4s, I've noticed that at lower volumes, like later when I just want to chill, man, I gotta say this. I've mentioned this amp a few times in the reviews, but this Electro Compongue, it's French, 3,500 bucks for the integrated amp. And when I first got this thing, I thought this this thing's gonna be just a turd. You know, it just doesn't look like anything super impressive other than just like a fancy faceplate, right? If you turn around and you see like the back of it, you'll know what I'm talking about. It just feels like, really? That's all you got, huh? France, that's it? That's all you got. Nothing looks fancy about it. And I got to say I've been blown away. I've been totally blown away and kind of mesmerized by how beautiful that particular integrated amplifier sounds, especially on top and on the bottom. And so these are two big things for like lower moderate volumes, right? You want to be able to hear some detail on top and you want to hear a little bit of, bass. You want some balls. And that's the reason why loudness buttons have existed for so long. And with that Electro Compagnie, ECI 80D, Ben is the actual model. I gotta say, I'm kind of over the moon about that particular integrated amp. I think it's just fantastic. So yeah, that would be my thoughts on that. Acoustic Invader preamp to review. Ooh, that sounds really interesting. Oh, Ron, could you reach out and see about the Acoustic Invader preamp? Yeah, Google AX. I will do that. I will take a note of that actually. Definitely. That's interesting. Stay Brown. We've got a question here. What are your thoughts on a tube phono stage or DAC? Oh, no, I don't want to report him. What are your thoughts on a tube phono stage or DAC with solid state preamp versus tube pre and solid state DAC or phono on all tubes while main, maintaining solid state amplifier section? Okay. Um, I've tried actually both of those scenarios, and I would say that one of some of my favorite systems that I've ever put together was like a solid state system with a tube phono stage. So, as a specific example, the Modrite PH 9.0, that is an unbelievable, like no BS, unbelievable all tube phono stage that you could throw that onto any kind of a solid state rig, and as far as I'm concerned, you're going to be in the realm of the best of both worlds at that point. You're going to have solid state dynamics, muscle, grip, all of that, and then you're going to be pumping it with just that tube glory with an analog front end. Dude, I'm telling you that though that type of a system is phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. So, yeah. Listening chair, any recommendations? Do you think it makes a difference? Jeff, that's a great question. Yes, I do. I once did a video about an Eames replica chair that I currently have, and YouTube actually pulled the video. It's the only video that I've ever actually had pulled, and I got a copyright strike for the video. And so I guess that was a no no. Either way, I do like the Eames style chairs, but I gotta say something. Now that I've had it for a while and kind of the whole, I guess the honeymoon is over, so to speak. Like, yeah, it's just a replica of an Eames chair, but why are you excited in the first place, Ron? But still, it looks and feels exactly like an Eames chair, and I've sat in both, and this is like a really good replica. I will tell you that it's way too low. I'm always just like way too low to the ground. I mean, it's a very low chair. And so while I love the posture of it and the fact that you just kind of are tilted back, I've been thinking about putting mine on like some kind of a platform, or I don't know, somehow retrofitting it with, with some feet that are lifts it up off the ground, gets it taller. So that's my only strong opinion about chairs. In the past, I've just had regular couches and things like that, so I don't have any other specific example. Have you heard Dunleavy speakers from back in the day? No, but I've heard about Dunleavy or Dunleavy, however you say it, speakers. Danny talks about him quite a bit. I know Clayton has talked about him quite a bit, but I've never personally heard them myself. Ron, I enjoyed your Clip Share C4 review. Like you said, they are rock and roll. Yeah, they are. They definitely are. Far from objectively like a great speaker. The measurements were a bit of a mess, to be honest with you, and there's certainly some resonance going on. But I gotta say, like when I set those up and I just started, playing vinyl or playing anything analog and just kind of cranking them and just letting go. I get it. I can at least appreciate and understand why people really, really like that speaker so much. I get it. So yeah. Let me just see here. Also, the GR Research website is a million times better in every single way. Thank you for helping get that resolved. Holy crap, it's night and day from what it's always been previously. Yeah, you're welcome. I did help out with that website. My past experience before doing the whole YouTube thing was all website design. It's something that I'm pretty accustomed with, and I gifted him with that site. I was just like, I can't take it anymore, man. Like your site is so bad that we've got to do something about this. And so I built him a site and I gave it to him. So I'm glad it's working out well. Any thoughts on what phono preamp to match with a Hagel H190 $1,000 budget? At $1,000, I I'm speaking out of turn when I say this, okay, Don. But I'm very interested, and I already asked to check out the brand new Shit Audio. Is it the Skull? I think is what they're calling it. $400 phono preamp from Shit Audio. I'm very anxious to check that out and put it through its paces. And as soon as I do, that might be like a real budget king out there in terms of just like an amazing phono preamp that's not gonna, break the bank. So stay tuned and I'll let you know what I think about that guy. Let me see here. Um, any good stereo amplifier at $2,000? There's a gazillion of them, man. I mean, if you can give me, this is a L Baby 1000 asking any good stereo amplifier 2K. A lot. Used, new, what are you looking for? Solid state, tubes, what type of sound are you looking for? Give me a little bit more information. I should be able to help you out with that. Um, I feel like the opening sequence of the Manos, the hands of fate, driving, driving, driving. True voice of reason. Oh my goodness. Open baffle for the win? Question mark. Yes, open baffle for the win always. Let me just see here. Uh, did you review the French integrated on YouTube? Ben, no, I haven't yet. I've only mentioned that particular integrated amplifier a couple of times in some reviews that I've done recently, um, but I haven't reviewed it yet. I will be reviewing it, and I've been spending some time putting it through its paces. So stay tuned. Right now I have it set up with the X4s. I've got the NUO Zenith going into the Maydac and then just into that integrated. It's just a very simple, beautiful setup straight into the X4s. And I've been spending time listening to the latest revision of the spatial audio X4s. And it's kind of interesting how that all happened. For those that aren't aware or there's uninformed as to how that kind of transition happened with Clayton and spatial audio, Clayton got very, very, like, I can't stress this enough, incredibly sick, like death's door kind of scary sick. and he wasn't even sure if he was going to make it. And everybody was just kind of holding their breath, praying that he would just kind of pull through. And he did, thank goodness. And during that transition, he had no choice but to let spatial audio go. He couldn't, I mean, as far as he knew, it was over. And so a lot of the employees that worked there actually bought the company, and they're carrying the company into a new era. And Sam is the lead designer, and I think it's safe to say that the owner of Spatial Audio, like on paper. And I know that he's at least designing the crossovers for all the revisions that they're going to be doing moving forward. And those boys came out and they brought out the X4s with this latest revision of the Ultra, the official Ultra that you can see on their website. And I listened to it and it was great, but I did have some feedback in terms of what my ideal voicing would be. Like I listened to it, I was like, okay, I know exactly what you're going for, and that there's nothing wrong with that. But what if you did this or did that? And so I was just giving some feedback, and they took it seriously, and they've actually done a revision of it based on my feedback. They sent it back to me, and I mentioned this in the shit tier review. I think that they knocked it out of the park. I mean, it's beautiful. He was able to pull back like between 1 to 3K a little bit. I felt like that was just a little bit too detailed for my taste, and I feel like they pulled that back a little bit, and they didn't really sacrifice on anything else. And so right out of the gates, I've been enjoying the hell out of it. I mean, it sounds really great. So that review will be, that review will happen eventually as soon as I, you know, finalize my thoughts on the speakers. I got to measure them. I got to figure out what's going on, make sure there's no, objective problems or issues that they need to be aware of before they call it a day. But based on what I'm hearing, I think they did a fantastic job. So, yeah. Humbly asking for a BMW 603 S3 review. Now that would be interesting. It's been ages since I've heard anything from BMW. So yeah, I'm down. I'm down to play. I'll definitely have to do that for sure. Ron, are you working anywhere aside from NRD? No. New record day is my job, and it probably doesn't feel like over the last year that that would be true based on the lack of like really great content. I know that I've been kind of phoning things in, but um no, yeah, I'm this is it. This is my gig, and it's the only thing that I do. So it feels great to be back, and it feels great to finally have, the sound shed finally built out, and that took forever. But we're there, and it's crazy to be in this room. By the way, and I should mention this, I don't even mind mentioning this like right now. Anybody that wants to come down and hang out, you can do that. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, if you ever wanted like set up like, hey, I want to come and hang with Ron and I want to check out the sound shed and I want to listen to music in there, I'm totally down with it. I mean, we live humbly here. We don't have anything real fancy, but I'll cook you up some barbecue and we can listen to some music. And I've already had, like I said, the guys from Spatial Audio came out. Obviously, Clayton came out and Mark came out. Danny's been over here a number of times. And man, when you shut this door back here, there's two little, when it does a second, when it really closes, it's crazy quiet in here. And now that the acoustics are under control, I got clouds put up on the ceiling. Um, Man, it's very, very good in here. Like the staging, the width and the depth and the height of the stage in this room is outstanding. And so, hey, seriously, I'm not kidding. Like, you're welcome. Like, if you guys ever want to come and hang out with me, let me know. I'd be happy to have anybody down here. All right. Ron, have you tried out any of the ridiculously expensive Class D amps that are out now? The Fozzy V3 sounds better than it has any rights for the price. Talk about Budget King. You know, as you guys know, I haven't shied away from Class D, and I have zero issues at all with anything Class D. I've always been kind of guy or reviewer that's like, hey, if it sounds good, it's good. And I have heard a number of Class D amplifiers that I like quite a bit. The Purify stuff, the Encore stuff, that all sounds good, but I haven't heard anything past that. Now, I should mention that I did reach out to Ralph from Atmosphere about their Class D amp, which I know is a bit pricey, but Ralph is a legit designer, and I know that he has literally been working on that design for a very, very long time to get it to sound right. And I'm very excited to get my grubby hands on that if I can. And so I've already requested it, and he said that he'll certainly try and make it happen. So I'm excited to try that out. But other than that, I don't turn my nose up to anything Class D. I really don't. I just listen to it and I try to describe how it sounds, and that's that. And there's been some nice ones. There's been some nice ones out there. So yeah, really enjoy. This is Dan Bailey. Really enjoy your speaker reviews. There are so many good speakers. I'm having option anxiety. Dan, I know exactly how you feel, man. I've been doing a massive shootout in here recently. I've got the Typhons from Jay, the CSS Audio Typhons. I've got the Bullies from GR Research with the direct servos. I've got the Brutes from GR in here. I have the X4s in here. I have the Sapphires in here. I have Encores in here. Like, I wish I could turn this around just so you could see the amount of speakers that I have in here. And man, I've been enjoying all of them. And of course, the speaker that I'm probably the most excited about is obviously Caladan. That speaker freaked me out, and I don't know how else to put it. I don't know if it was just the stars aligned because knowing how quickly he just got that thing together and like, hey, I think I got something here. And he brought it down, and I remember like him, here I was worried like he's been sick, and it's like, dude, you shouldn't be picking up a speaker. And I go to pick this thing up, and it's like 40 pounds, and I'm like, where's where's the rest of the speaker? I was just like, there's no way. And as you could see, like in the video, like when I pick it up compared to the Sapphires, Sapphires, I'm like, oh, and Caladan, you can almost pick it up with one hand. It's just not a big, heavy, massive speaker. And I thought beyond a shadow of a doubt that it wouldn't even be close to the Sapphires. I was like, there's just no way. And then when it outperforms Sapphires, I couldn't even I still am you can tell by my genuine enthusiasm here, I still don't know what to say about it. It's baffling. It's baffling. It's baffling. I don't know what to say about it. So, I'm incredibly excited to finally get a pair in. I wanted him so badly to leave that production or that pre-production pair, that concept pair here, so I could spend more time with him. But he took him to the show, Capital Audio Fest, and I guess that they just killed it. Everybody that heard him just loved him from what I hear. And now we're all just kind of waiting around, for Kaladin to be produced and shipped out. And I cannot wait to spend more time with it. So, yeah, yeah. Great work on the sound shed, Ron. Loved your build breakdown video. Thank you, Derek. I definitely appreciate it. I didn't really love that first video. I felt like it was just so boring and drawn out, but I'm glad you enjoyed it and got something out of it. I had to make the tough call of front loading a ton of information in one video so I could get to the what I feel is going to be the fun stuff. So the next 4 videos in that series, I think are going to be it's going to be a blast because I'm as much as I don't want to do this, I know that it's gonna be worth it, is I'm gonna be, like, tearing out, like, everything in here and then playing sound clips and then putting stuff back in and hearing just what absorption does and hearing just what diffusion does and going through room mode calculators and REW and you know what those measurements actually mean and why they're important. And I'm hoping that the way that I'm planning in my head and the way that I'm storyboarding this is, I think that you guys are going to learn a lot. And it's not going to be like, let's sit down here for 5 hours and go through like math. Like, no, no, no. Like, I'm going to make it entertaining and fun, but yet I think we're all going to learn something. And I think I'm going to learn something even about the room as I go through this process, because it's not like I measured this as I was building it. It's like I knew how things were going to behave based on the dimensions, and I measured everything obviously when it was done. But being able to kind of build this step by step and see the progression in terms of how the frequency response might change or how the time decay in the room changes, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So thank you, man. I'm super excited to get rolling on those. Join late. Any update on Kaladin? I don't have any updates myself. I know that Clayton is working as hard and fast as he can to expedite and kind of get the ball rolling. I don't think that anyone expected. I don't think that he expected, or I expected, or anyone expected the response from that video. I wasn't trying to sell anything. I mean, that's the truth of it. Is I'm just enthusiastic about a dang speaker, and I think he knocked this so far out of the park. And I almost fell out of my chair when he's telling me the price. I was like, this is really good news for my crew, because as good as something like these X4s are, it's like not everybody can afford, seven, eight, nine, $10,000 speakers. It's just not realistic. And when he mentioned to me, he's like, I'm aiming for 3 grand. I was like, dude, that is nutty. And obviously, with that response, the massive response, you know, the dude's pretty much been on the phone ever since that video. And he is obviously focused and working hard on ramping up and taking care of all of you guys and getting all those speakers out. So I'm thrilled. One thing that I should mention is I know that, and this might be helpful in terms of discussion and communication from Clayton, is he just opened up a forum on his site. So you can just, I think it's just click on the forum and register, and off you go. I registered earlier, so I'll be in there, and I'm just kind of excited to as soon as those first folks start getting their pairs and people start setting up their Kaladins, I cannot wait. This is what I can't wait for. I can't wait until they realize that in the sound clips and what I had to say, they haven't heard anything yet. Like, it's that kind of a situation. Like, oh, like it's gonna be better than they expected. I mean, I'm over the moon about it. Like, okay, I'll shut up about Kaladins for a second. Hey Ron, on your Concept 50 reviews, what amplifier did you use with it? I believe with the Concepts, I use the Galleon TS120. That is Thomas and Stereo's tube amplifier. And I'm trying to think what else I used. I know that I did something solid state. You know what? I used the tiers on them. I had the tiers at that point. So I was putting the tiers through their paces, and my preamp was for the tiers. It was either my Serene, Holo Audio Serene, or the Shit Audio Freya S, their older solid state, which I think has been replaced by Kara or Kara, however they're saying it. Similar. approach, similar style preamp, but the Freya S was the preamp that I was most likely using in that scenario. The Fozzy V3 Class D is under $100. I have SET 300 tube amps, and I enjoy the Fozzy just as much at times. Wow. Fozzy V3 Class D amplifier. Craig is saying it's the one to get. Is that, Craig? I'm curious. Is that one that Randy, Cheap Audio Man, talks about? I know that he's mentioned. Um, I know that he has mentioned Fozzy a number of times, so maybe that's it. Yeah. Avoid saying filler word like. Okay, thank you, James. I appreciate it. I will avoid saying like. Philip Tassi, really need to know your initial thoughts on X4 Ultra prototype next year versus Caladan. I'll be happy to do that. Two totally different price points. I can probably unpack that even now, to be honest with you. I don't even know if I would need a year. The thing that you must understand about the X series in general versus something like a Caladan or a Sapphire is with the X4, and this was true with the X5 as well, that you have you have a friend that is going to help you out and bail you out of problematic situations, rooms, funky rooms, rooms where you've got one side open and one side, a wall on one side, or you have all glass on one side and drywall on the other side, or nothing at all is symmetrical and you've got weird walls making strange angles. The directivity, the directivity of the X series is going to bail you out. And so the way that I've always kind of tackled, which is the better speaker, is you kind of have to start there. And that's the way that I guess the way that I think about things, and it has been the way that I think about things ever since I started realizing just how important the room is. We don't talk about it enough. We just kind of pretend it's like, oh, everything's gonna be okay. And it's like, well, no, no, Jack, it's not. And so if your room is symmetrical, if you have room to breathe and you have, you know, some level of acoustic treatment, then I think that buys you the opportunity to move in the direction of a Caladan or move in the direction of a well, not a Sapphire, but a Caladan, move in that kind of a direction without as many consequences, right? But in the event where your room is kind of wacky tobacky and you've got like an open side or, glass wall or whatever the case may be, then having controlled directivity is really important and it will save the day. And so that by default might place you in that camp, whether you like it or not. It's like you're getting the right tool for the job, if that makes sense. So, oh, Danny Ritchie showed up and he says, say off access. Access. See, I say it perfect every single time. Ever since I started a new record day, and anytime that I mention doing measurements, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but I've changed the way that I talk about. I think I say, and if we take a look at the horizontal performance, or I'll say like the vertical response, I avoid saying the word access because apparently, even though I feel like in my ears, my golden ears, I'm saying access absolutely perfect. Maybe here's the truth. Maybe y'all are saying it wrong, and I'm the only guy that's saying it right. Access. I'm pretty sure that's it. Anyways, Danny's always giving me shit about it. He's like, "Ron, you can't say access, man. Like I'm like, Danny, I'm saying it exactly how you're saying it." He's like, "Say it again. Access." He's like, "Not even close, man." So it's good to have Danny in the chat here with us. Let's see here. Ace of Spades, dude, it's been forever since the last live stream. I know. If going to demo a Caladan next month in super. Oh, I'm going to demo Caladan next month, and I'm super pumped. Certainly have Maggie's 1.7, so love the open baffle sound. Ace of Spades, dude, that I'm super thrilled for you. And you know what? I gotta say, I think that'll be an interesting fight. 1.7 eyes versus a Caladan. Uh, I'd be curious to see what your findings are and what you think. And it's been so long since I've looked at Maggie's. Is the 1.7i, is that offering any kind of a dynamic woofer for bass, or is it still just all, planar goodness? I know that I thought he was doing some woofers now. So I'd be curious about that, but in any event, that will be interesting to see what you think comparing something like a 1.7 versus a Caladan. Any reviews for subwoofers in the future? I recently got a Proficient FRS12 old Sunfire brand technology with app for settings, but haven't heard a single review of them. I don't have anything in the pipeline specifically for subwoofers, but I do have the GR Research bullies in for review. And I think the way that I'm going to tackle that in a couple of different ways because Danny, who's actually in the chat right now, is always saying this nonsense about, oh, these direct servos can do anything. They can do. I can't sound like Danny Ritchie. Hey, everybody. He's always talking about how they can do anything. It doesn't matter. Small room, big room, it doesn't matter. They can do anything. And uh, he's right. So let me say that he's right, and I know that for a fact because I've actually had his direct servo amps before, and I feel at home with them with all the settings. And what I plan to do is kind of put the bullies in rooms and in places where they don't belong, and then show you how I can correct the bass in any room that I put them in. So it makes them incredibly versatile. And so hopefully that will be kind of an interesting, informative video about basically direct servo and these particular plate amps. Not a subwoofer review, but it'll be close to something like that. It'll be in the same vein, if you will. So yeah. Shit came out with a balanced phono that is an upgrade to the Manny for $400 called the Skull. Have you seen it and any initial thoughts? Ace of Spades, yeah, thank you for mentioning that. I actually mentioned that earlier. And I'm going to be trying to get my grubby hands on that because I'm curious as to what they've done with that. And I have a feeling that it's going to be a knockout. So I don't know. I hope to check out that preamp soon and see what it sounds like. So yeah. Caladan's okay for late night listening too, or do I need to go up market 25K budget? Ben, you do not need to go up. No. With the, when I'm listening in here in the shed, first and foremost, I mean my noise floor is actually under 30 dB. So it's very, very quiet in here. But if I'm at 70 or even 80 dB, I mean, that's loud enough for me, and times even, quieter than that. When Clayton and Mark was here and we were putting Kaladin through its paces, these were the exact questions I knew were coming. I was like, we've got to literally try everything, and we did, and they were very patient with me because we only had a couple of days to try to figure out what the heck is going on with these speakers. And no joke, like we literally tried the most bizarre things just to make sure, like, what can we say about these speakers as people ask these kinds of questions, starting with like, how close to the wall can we get? So we were literally like slamming them up against a wall and like, does that sound good? No? Okay. A foot out. Does that sound good? No? Okay. A foot out. Around 2.5 feet to 4 feet within that realm is where things really started to go from like, you can get by with this. There are some sacrifices, but it's good to wow. So we did that. And at the same time, one of the things that you're asking is another thing that we also did, which was let's try low level and let's see what it can do. And the bass response and the top end clarity on the Caladans is so dang good that you can turn those down and you still get, some life out of those speakers. No problem. So, yeah. How close can you sit in front of the Caladan? How close can you sit in front of it? You know, when we were moving them around, I want to say that we got as close as 6 feet, 6 to 7 feet. And we found that like 7 to 8 was kind of the magic spot. But we did some closer proximity, more near field style stuff, stay. And we thought that it worked out great. So, take that for what it's worth. Joey G's audio channel. Digital rocks, vinyl sucks, Brene. Oops, be right back. Gotta take my friend's US pressings out to the electrosonic cleaner. Seriously. Oh my goodness sakes. Good old Joey. If you're not subscribed to Joey G's audio channel, make sure you do it. Joey lives in Arizona and we used to hang out a couple of times. I think we got acquainted through Thomas, if I'm not mistaken, Joey. But yeah, check out his YouTube channel. And he's a digital guy. I'm praying for him that one of these days he's going to see the light. Nobody's perfect, but we'll keep hoping for him. You never know. Hey, Ron guy, just how much of a stiffy do open? Anonymous guy says, "Hey, Ron guy, just how much of a stiffy do open baffle speakers give you?" Pretty good. Like a 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10, depends on the open baffle. I don't know what to say there. Mike Huntington, thank you so much for the super chat. I definitely appreciate it. Any first impressions on the Cyan 2 DAC? Wow, you're my favorite hi-fi review named Ron. Keep up the great work. Yeah, so I have been listening to the Cyan 2 since it pretty much came in. Throughout the entire tier review, everything was being fed through the Cyan 2, all of it. So all of those impressions that I had to say at the heart of it was the Cyan 2. And I think that they might have actually knocked it out of the park with that DAC. Based on what I'm hearing so far, it's as if they just took the heart of the Maydac and they're like, we're going to just scalpel away all of the extra stuff that, only the 3% need so they can sleep well at night. But for somebody that can't afford that, let's just do the most insane, bad to the bone DAC that we possibly can, strip everything down, bare bones. What do we got? And so far, verdict is still out, but so far, I gotta say, I'm pretty dang impressed. I don't feel like I'm really losing a whole lot. And I won't, I won't know, um, I won't know the facts until I go back to the Maydac. So the way that I review things like this is I put it into a system and then I don't touch it and I stop thinking about it. If I think about it and go back and forth, I'll go crazy. I have to remember that things like this take time because you're trying to focus in on subtleties. These are subtle little changes. And so I have to get into the swimming pool with Cyan 2 and stay there for a good while before swapping it out, go back to the Maydac and go, aha, what's going on here? Anyways, yeah, so it's Mike, I'm going to be frank with you at what they're saying the asking price is of the Cyan 2. It's a phenomenal DAC, no doubt. Danny Ritchie, FYI, these headphones are off the charts. They are the best that I have heard. I took the Empyrean 2s over to Danny's today. I want to mention something. I have never taken any product over to Danny's that I don't like. I don't take any speakers to him to do his upgrades to. I've never done anything like that, right? Ever. The only thing that I ever bring over there is stuff that I'm like, dude, you need to hear this. And we've been messing around with headphones a little bit lately. The Empyrean 2s, holy, you put those things on and it's like angels singing to you. I mean, it is unfreaking real. And I'm so lucky that I got my grubby hands on a pair because Meze was like, dude, we got like 2 pair left, in terms of samples. And your headphone reviews don't turn in the big numbers, man. Are you sure, Brene? I was like, please, I will give you Elliot in exchange. Sarah said no to that idea, but I thought it was a solid idea. I was like, Elliot for the Empyreans, no trade backs. Anyways, Empyrean 2s, Danny, I agree with you. I have been blown away by those headphones. I mean, it's astonishing as to how good those things sound. It's just bliss. It might be a perfect headphone. Anyways, yeah. Hey Ron, got my head spinning between the Caledon and the Concept 50. Great seeing you here and great job on all your latest videos. Thank you. Both of those speakers are great. Um, if you haven't experienced open baffle and you have at least a little bit of room to breathe, 2.5 feet, I would say 2 feet, 2.5 feet, which, it's kind of funny. And I need to do a video about this. Everybody's like, well, the problem with open baffle is that you need 2.5 feet, away from the wall. And I'm like, show me any kind of a ported speaker with a port on the back that you don't need at least 2.5 feet. Like, really? I mean, it's kind of the same dang problem is as soon as you start stuffing a ported speaker up against the wall, you're going to have a different kind of problem, but you're going to have boomy, exaggerated bass. And so I don't know. I was experimenting with this earlier, and it's like with those X4s in the room, I was messing around today just because I was curious. I was like, I'm going to slam them against the wall. And I took measurements. So I'm going to do a video about this of like trying to debunk a lot of the ideas of like, well, you don't really have good bass with open baffle unless you're really far out into the room like Ron does. That's not true at all. It's not true. What I'm trying to achieve or what I'm trying to get out of a speaker way deep into the room, it really has nothing to do with, I mean, it has something to do with the bass, but that's not the reason that I have the speakers way out into the room. So stay tuned for that. In any event, without getting sidetracked, if you have 2.5 feet, which I think you would need for the Concept 50, let me make this simple for you. Get the Caledons. The Caledons are a better speaker. Get the Caledons. They're a better speaker. There you go. All right. True voice of reason. If you had the opportunity to build, snap together a component, whatever that may be, would you attempt it and put it through its paces? Was watching YouTube creator Gabster before you went live. I don't think so. I play guitar and I've thought about like doing a tube amplifier, like a guitar tube amplifier. And I may start with something like that, but I don't think I would do like, a hi-fi amplifier or, anything like that. I don't think so. Craig Berkey, yes, Randy loves that amp too. Fozzy V3. Okay, I knew Randy. Randy was talking about a Fozzy amplifier, and I'll bet you that's the one. Yeah. Hey, Joey, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you for the super chat. That's really kind of you. Really do appreciate that. Let's see here. That Robert Ludwig moving pictures untouchable. Da, da, da. Have you run into any bass phase cancellation with the X4s or Sapphires due to the distance from the back wall? And what's the best solution? If so, okay. So Philip, this is the question that I'm going to be answering in the video, and I'm going to back it with sound clips and measurements because I've heard this said by Danny. I've heard it said by Clayton. I've heard this said over and over and over again is that you're going to have phase cancellation. You're going to have, if you get it too close to the wall, you're going to have phase cancellation. But I tried it today with the X4s, and I'm not even kidding you. I had them like a foot, like as far back as the base is just all I left room for was to plug in the cables of the X4s. So the terminals. So you've got the bottom base, whatever that distance is, under a foot, maybe a foot. And then you have the terminals. And then I had the wall. So no room. And I set them up there. I got out Clio. I took some shots. And I had bass all the way down to 30 hertz. And it was like a flat line. Whoop. There was no weird, wonky phase related issues that I saw. Now, I didn't listen to them there, so I don't know what they sound like that close to the wall. I would expect probably not very good. So it might not be as simple as just a frequency response, and there might be more to it than that. But I plan on doing a video where we're going to learn together, man. We're going to put in, we're going to slam X4s, whatever I have, open baffle speakers right up against the wall. We're going to measure them. We're going to listen to them. I'm going to break out the mics. We're going to mic everything up. And then we're going to just slowly pull stuff out from the wall with sound clips along the way. It's going to be like a little adventure into my insanity. And we'll just see whether or not, like, once we're way out on the dance floor, is it worth it? Like, is there a point where magic happens, similar as to what I've described for years and years on lots, where if you get speakers out on the dance floor, everything just starts to open up in this unbelievable way where you lose track of the speakers. There's no speakers in the room. That does happen. I know it happens because I've done it for so long, but it'll be interesting to see if we can prove it in the way that I've been kind of walking you guys through using sound clips as our ally. It'll be interesting if, okay, Ron, shut your mouth, please, and show us so we can hear it for ourselves. It'll be interesting if we can do that. So I'm excited for that. We'll have to see what happens. Anyways, let me just see here. Long time viewer, first time chatter. Keep on keeping on. Amazing watching your journey. Super cool. Hey, Lemon String, thank you so much for jumping in here. I certainly do appreciate that. That's very kind of you. You sound just like Danny. You kidding me? Laugh out loud. That was awesome. Hey, everybody. True Voice of Reason, Rush. Let's just see here. You guys are talking with each other. Will Clayton be exhibiting at Expona? Ben, I don't know if Clayton will be. I know that there is a Dallas, Texas show scheduled, and I know that he will be there, and I will be there. So if you want to meet me, I have no excuses. Dallas is 2 hours away. So I will definitely, without a doubt, be there. But I'm not sure about Expona. I don't know if he's going to be doing that or not. Hey Ron, can you speak to the shit tier amps a bit? Are they really giant killers? Do they compare to amps 10 times the price? If so, which ones? I kind of feel like that would be a lengthy conversation. What I would say about the tiers is they are exactly as I described them. I don't think I've ever done such a great job of just nailing it. That look, if you're getting into like the boutique stuff, the stuff that might be 10 times more than the tiers, I don't think, and maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think that they're going to sound exactly how the tiers sound. And that is to say that the tiers, they're not interested in making anything sweet. They're not interested in like softening anything. I can't stress this enough. It's like when they called them the tiers, the god of war, they nailed it. It's like there is no forgiveness to be found in those amplifiers. And so if you want the honest to goodness truth about what's going on without anything being a little bit softer, a little bit sweeter, a little bit more euphoric, a little bit more open, whatever, the tiers just don't do that. And so I think that having been around some of that, exotic stuff that would be 10 times the price of the tiers, I don't think they're even trying to sound like the tiers, and I don't think the tiers are trying to sound like them. A lot of times with those kinds of amplifiers, they are maybe taking the bones of a tier, right? But they're go into the heart of it and they're saying, hey, we want to tell most of the truth, but we know that there's some stuff in there that is just going to sound a little bit too edgy, a little bit too bright at times, a little bit too ah. And so, a lot of these designers that are brilliant, they might find a creative way, whether it's through the use of certain capacitors or we're not going to get into the weeds here. Whatever they decide to do, we'll just leave it at that. They might find a way to soften things or make it just a little bit easier to listen to. The Tears, not that. They're not that. And so, are they giant killers? Well, it depends on the giant. I'll say that they're just a bad to the bone, powerful amplifier that doesn't hold back. And so, if that's the sound that you're looking for, then uh, y- there you go. Like, absolutely, there you go. Yeah. Meze Empyrean 2 versus Verum 1. Empyrean 2, to my ears, is going to be a little bit more analytical on top, specifically on top. I think that it's just a little bit more detail centric on top. The Verum 1 is a very beautiful and lush sounding headphone. That's not to say that it's warm sounding, but I think that the Empyrean 2s take things just a little bit further in terms of micro dynamic details and tiny little nuggets. It's astonishing. It's the voicing on those is just crazy. So that's yeah, that's my opinion between those two. What preamp would you match with the Cyan DAC? There's a million, Mike, to be honest with you. Um, you give me a budget and kind of a rough idea as to what it is that you're going for, I could probably help you out a little bit better. But I've tried them with the Serene, I've tried them with that Freya S. And in both of those examples, I think that it sounds great. The Serene I love because it is a preamp that just does nothing other than allows you to connect to whatever it is that you're connecting to, and it gets the heck out of the way. A lot of folks might find the Serene to be like the most boring preamp on the planet, and they're probably not wrong. Is that it just doesn't have a voice, it's not imparting anything special. Whereas, as an example, like you know, uh my favorite preamp probably that I've ever spent time with is going to be something with like a tube front end, like the Vinny Rossi Leo that I had for so long, or the Dot Audio preamps. Like Danny has a Dot Audio preamp, and I have a couple Dot Audio preamps that I've collected, and those have a tube front end. And so that is doing something kind of special. It's just lighting things up in a very beautiful way. But the Serene, especially as a tool for a reviewer, it's not doing that. It's just, hey, I'm just here to connect stuff and give you a volume control. And so, you know, take that for what it's worth. But yeah, there's a gazillion preamps that would be a great matching from what I can tell with the Cyan 2. Let me just see here. Brendan Bell, your nose. All right, Brendan's on his way. He's going to be here any minute. ABX Audio Lab, Dolce Audio, doing great things. Doing open baffle speakers. That's interesting. I'll be Southwest in March with Black Ice Audio and Zoo Audio. That's great. Awesome. Really cool to hear that, Joey. I visited DFW last week. I will try to get back to DFW for Expona. Ben, come on down, dude. I mentioned this earlier in the chat here, and I'll mention it again before I sign off for the evening. Uh, with the sound shed being under control, like the doors are open. Like I can't stress this enough. I actually would love it if some of you guys would want to come down and visit sometime and just hang out and hear some speakers, hear what I'm hearing in this room. You're welcome to. Like, don't be shy. Just reach out to me. Let me know when you'd be in the area. I'll cook you up some barbecue, and you know we'll listen to some music, and you guys can kind of hear the shed for yourself. Shit Ager 2 will be interesting. I can't tell you how excited I am about the prospect of that. I know that that's something that they've hinted at, and they're going to be, hopefully releasing here soon. I would expect it to be just a more powerful version of the Ager because that was probably the biggest complaint about the Ager. So, yeah, that'll be super exciting. Oh, I think I'm actually caught up on my chats, which is good. We're about an hour in, and my buddy Brendan's going to be here any second. We're going to do some recording in the shed tonight. So let me see here if I've got anything else. Hi, in the past, you said that the Ilium AMP23R and the Spatial Audio Sapphires combination was your best. Have you changed that view with the Caladans? I haven't, but somebody was asking, and this was a great question. Like, dude, what about the Caladans and the AMP23R? When Clayton and Mark were here, we tried that pairing, and it was astonishing. In fact, it really came down to basically like 3 amps that I had in house that we liked the most. We liked what the LTA Z10 Plus was doing. We definitely like the Enlium Amp 23R. It's very limited though, and there's some quirky things about the Amp 23R. If you turn that amplifier on with just about anything, headphones, whatever, speakers, and you just press play, you're going to be like, Ron is high as a kite. This thing sucks. There's no balls. It's just weak sounding. Wait. This is really honestly one of those amplifiers where you must wait until you touch it and it's hot. Like, ooh, that you could fry an egg on that thing. Then listen, and then we have the conversation. It takes time to warm up. And we noticed this like when we first started playing it when Mark and Clayton was here. I think they were like, Ron, you doing you're have you had your ears checked lately, bro? Because there's just no cojones here. And I was like, hang tight, be patient. And dude, it was crazy because within about 30 to 40 minutes, you could almost hear it as it just starts to like, oh, well, hello there. And it got better and better and better. But we all agreed, this was unanimous, with the Caladans, that Electro Compagnie ECI 80D, that was our favorite integrated amp of all. It had the best bass control, the best grip and bass control, and it was the most effortless sounding of anything that I had in house. Anything that I could get my hands on to just throw at the Caladans, that simple little, Electro Compagnie, it it was mind bending how good. That's like a one and done kind of a deal with Caladan. I think it's just bananas how good. Let's see here. Are you considering testing higher end new Enlium? Yeah, they actually mentioned that they're going to be sending me like their flagship. I don't know exactly what they got going on there, Federico. But yes, the answer is yes. Enlium said that they're going to send me whatever it is that they're about to release. I don't know anything about it, but I think they're going to do like a flagship type thing. And yeah. Oh, Martin, man, I got to stop for a minute. Of all of the guys that I've always wanted to meet, well, I want to meet all of you guys for sure, but Martin is going to be way up on the list. And here's why. From the very beginning, as far back as I can remember, Martin was one of those guys that I knew, even in just the sound clips, was hearing it like really detailed, like good ears, like he is calling it exactly as it is, even to the point where, I would say something vague. I release the video, sound clips with commentary, and then I go back and be like, whatever Martin said is what I'm going to write in the review. I was like, what? He's got it right. Whatever he said, I'm just going to steal it and not tell him and not give him any credit. It was all my idea. Great ears. Martin, I would love to meet you. That'd be awesome. If you did a road trip from Phoenix to Wichita Falls, come on down, dude. It'd be awesome. And then, hey, Ron, how about some binaural videos of cable and interconnect? Don, I've thought about doing that. Wouldn't it be interesting? Because I've gotten pretty dang good at the sound demos. Like there's some tricks. Nothing like, that's a weird, like, I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot, and I've done enough of them to come up with some pretty dang compelling sound demos. And I thought, wouldn't it be interesting if we could break the internet and the hi-fi world of, do cables make a difference and can we hear that difference? Swap out all the power cords, swap out all the speaker cables, the interconnects, and do an entire loom and then change it all out. And like, can we clearly, without a doubt, everybody's like, okay, there's something going on here. That would be interesting, right? So yeah, Don, you're onto something there, man. I'm thinking I might actually be doing that, so it'll be fun. All right. I got to close up shop here. I know Bren's going to be here any minute. So let me just see if there's no more questions coming in, but let me just see if I've got anything else that's standing out here. What do you think the best DAC is? Transform poorly mastered music, Maydac. The Maydac is one of the best that I've heard. It is very smooth. It is it's a you got to put a lot of time on a Maydac, like a lot of time before it really starts to smooth out. Um, but I mean, in situations like this, it's like I've had the Maydac for how long? You don't see me turning and burning, and here's the latest DAC that's the greatest. It's like I don't play that game. I'm not interested in playing that game. When I find something and I call it the king, then usually it stays on the throne for a while. And so far, the Maydac is yet to be dethroned. So there's that. Yeah. Let me just see here. Thank you. Your YouTube channel reinvigorated my interest in this hobby. Got to experience Caledons at Capitol Audio Fest. Warren, I'm so happy to hear that, man. That's great. Fantastic. And let me just see here. It looks like that is it. All right. I finished up all the questions. I was here for an hour. More live streams coming. We'll have to kind of get back into the habit of doing this. And as I always close things out, again, I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to every single one of you guys for, the time that you have put in, the effort that you've put into following me and checking in with me and my family and just being so dang cool over the years. And what a privilege it is to just be doing this and doing it with you guys. So thank you all. I'm so grateful for each and every single one of you. And yeah, we'll see you guys soon. I've got some cool stuff planned, and I think that the shit audio tier review kind of gives you an idea as to what I can do when I really put some effort into it. And I'm telling you, I feel like I'm just scratching the surface. So more like that, but even better. Like that was pretty good, but let's do better. All right. Good night, guys. Thank you.